Tonight's story hinges on a single moment, a single pull of a trigger, a single bullet, a single physiological fact. Because once that bullet struck, the truth was no longer debatable. It was biologically locked in place. A man said he had no choice. Science said the choice had already been made. And by the end of this story, you'll understand why self-defense collapses when time, sequence, and psychology collide. Stay with us. This case doesn't just unfold. It tightens like a noose made of evidence. Let's start with something uncomfortable. People want self-defense stories to be true. In the United States, self-defense is culturally wired into ideas of autonomy, firearms, and personal liberty. In the United Kingdom, self-defense is viewed through restraint, proportionality, and skepticism of lethal force. Different cultures, same instinct. We want the story to make sense. And Tirrell Edwards gave police a story that sounded neat, like a puzzle box that clicks shut. An argument, a knife, fear, a gun. Simple, contained, finished. But real violence rarely follows straight lines. It moves like smoke in a sealed room. To circumvent similar occurrence and to know early warning signals that an interaction can become bloody. Sure, you'd not like to miss the 8th red flag checklist. Watch till the end. It's October 9th, 2023. Late night. The kind of hour when the world exhales. Edwards calls 911. His voice is steady, but too steady. Not panicked. Not fragmented. In criminal psychology, this matters. Extreme fear fractures speech. It breaks sentences into shards. This voice didn't shatter. It performed. That doesn't prove guilt, but it raises a quiet flag. A yellow light. Not red. Not yet. Before she became still, Amanda Williams was motion. She moved through other people's lives like warm light through curtains. Stylist, mother, grandmother. Her life was not chaotic. It was patterned. And violence thrives on disrupting patterns. Criminal psychologists call this situational rupture, the moment when an abuser feels control slipping like sand through fingers. Boom, that's when fear turns predatory. That's when anger disguises itself as survival. If you're watching from the US, Canada, UK, and audiences across the globe, subscribe now, because this case exposes how both systems struggle when domestic violence hides behind reasonable force. Boom, police arrive. Amanda is down. Gunshots. Multiple. Already the story strains. Self-defense usually ends when the threat stops. But here, the violence continued past necessity, like thunder after the lightning has already struck. Still Edwards walks. No handcuffs. No charges. To Americans, this initially looks like due process. To Brits, it feels alarmingly permissive. Both instincts would soon collide with reality. The autopsy arrives like a sealed envelope no one wants to open. Inside, truth folded neatly. One bullet severed Amanda's spinal cord. That shot is a biological full stop. After it, there is no advancing. No charging. No knife wielding. This is not opinion. This is anatomy. And yet shots came after. In criminal psychology, this is called overkill sequencing, violence that continues after the threat is neutralized. Overkill doesn't scream fear. It whispers control. The self-defense claim didn't crack. Vroom, it evaporated. It didn't unravel. It collapsed inward like a star, dying under its own weight. Time became a witness. Sequence became a prosecutor. The body became a timeline written in scars. Pause for 1 second. If you're still with us, like the video. It tells the algorithm and the world that these stories matter. Here's the psychology few people talk about. When someone fires after a threat is gone, it's often not fear anymore. It's catastrophic loss of control. The abuser realizes, too late, that power is slipping. And instead of stopping, they double down. Like pressing harder on brakes that have already failed. Justice didn't wake up on its own. It was shaken awake. Family, friends, voices that refuse to quiet down. This is a lesson both UK and US audiences need to hear. Systems do not self-correct automatically. They respond to pressure. And pressure applied long enough bends steel. Boom, the charges land. Suddenly, the narrative isn't emotional, it's mechanical. Shot order, wound trajectories, time gaps. Facts don't argue. They accumulate. And accumulation is lethal to lives. Comment where you're watching from, and whether you think self-defense laws go too far or not far enough. Edwards testifies. He repeats the story. But repetition isn't reinforcement. It's erosion. Because every retelling rubs against the same hard edge. She couldn't move. The jury doesn't need outrage. They need alignment. And the evidence aligns like dominoes already falling. Guilty. Not on emotion. On sequence. This is important for UK audiences especially. The verdict wasn't about intention. It was about continuation. And for US audiences, the right to defend yourself ends the moment the threat ends. Life with parole eligibility after 24 years. Not closure, but containment. Justice is not a mirror. It doesn't restore what was lost. It builds walls around what remains dangerous. Now, join me as we x-ray what really sparked the violence. The fatal shooting did not erupt from nowhere. It was a slow fuse lit in daylight and burned down in darkness. Court documents show that on the day before the shooting, Amanda Williams and Tirrell Edwards had an argument over communication and their relationship, and that this was not the first time they had fought. The bone of contention was not a sudden, isolated dispute, but a continuum of tension. Texts and calls that escalated into anger, accusations that widened into resentment, and a relationship where previous altercations had been acknowledged by Edwards himself. This is significant because in criminal psychology, repeated conflict weakens emotional regulation and increases the probability that a future disagreement becomes violent. When daily tensions become a slow boiling pot, the lid is ready to explode at the slightest trigger. Knowing and quitting when an interaction is turning violent could save one from becoming a victim of violence or crime of any sort. Both UK and US law enforcement, advocacy groups, and psychologists warn that an argument may escalate towards serious violence when you observe threats of harm or intimidation, use of a weapon or references to one, attempts to control movement or isolate a partner, repeated past episodes of unresolved conflict, verbal threats that imply you're going to pay, attempts to dominate the physical space. In the Williams case, avoidance cues were missing, no step back, no peaceful disengagement, no de-escalatory signals. Instead, the situation swirled like a storm gathering its strength until it became a cyclone of violence. From a prevention standpoint, this is critical. You don't wait for a scream to know something's wrong. You notice the silence before the scream. Because often, the moments before violence are not loud, they're ominously quiet. Investigators and legal analysts describe the behavioral pattern seen in this case as consistent with certain features of intimate partner violence escalation, including perceived loss of control, The killers need to claim back dominance once discord grew. Threat amplification, threats or actions becoming increasingly extreme in response to stress. Displacement of responsibility, placing blame on the victim. She was going to stab me. Lack of remorse at the scene. Evidence showed Edwards did not render aid and tried to block help from Williams's daughter right after the shooting, a fact prosecutors highlighted as demonstrating psychological detachment from the victim's pain. These patterns are not about a single bad moment. They are about a trajectory, a human life that veers off course and crashes into violence because there was no safe pathway out. This is precisely the kind of criminal psychology pattern that domestic violence educators, police trainers, and mental health professionals emphasize. Violence is not random, it is patterned. Like a train on rails, it follows a series of track switches: escalation, domination, weapon introduction, and lethal intent. Use this case as a checklist and as a guide, not as legal advice, but as early warning signals that an interaction can become bloody. First and foremost, repeated unresolved arguments. Next, watch out for weapon presence in the home. Moving on, observe accusations of betrayal or disrespect. After that, discern physical space control. Following that, notice lack of communication repair. Subsequently, emotional volatility becomes obvious. Prior to this, never ignore past minor violence or threats. The moment two of these coexist in a relationship, the risk profile shifts from emotional conflict to physical danger. In many domestic homicides across the US and UK, the fatal snapshot is actually the culmination of weeks or months of pattern shifts, like a crack in a dam that eventually fails under pressure. If you or someone you know is in a tense interaction that includes shouting combined with threats, physical escalation, grabbing, bruises, or fumbled restraint, or any sign that one partner seeks to dominate the other physically, that is not a heated discussion anymore. It's a behavioral red line. Back off immediately. Disengage safely. Contact authorities or support services. In the UK, contact local police or domestic abuse hotlines. In the US, contact 911 or domestic violence support networks. Because every escalation leaves a footprint, and the absence of police presence today does not mean safety tomorrow. For UK audiences, the phrase self-defense is legally bound by strict proportionality. The response must align with the threat. For US audiences, self-defense is often interpreted through a lens of individual autonomy. But in both jurisdictions, the fundamental test remains the same. Was the force used necessary at the moment, and did the threat truly exist? In Edwards's case, forensic sequencing showed that by the time of later shots, there was no plausible physical threat left, a finding prosecutors emphasized and juries ultimately agreed with. This teaches both UK and US viewers that self-defense claims collapse when timeline evidence contradicts the narrative, and that justice systems, when given time and pressure, can align legal outcomes with physical truth. There are legal consequences for unjustified self-defense, so you need to know when self-defense becomes murder. It's paramount to recognize abusive patterns before tragedy and how to de-escalate violent relationships. Amanda Williams did not become a statistical footnote by accident. Her death was the end of a pattern that could have been identified, interrupted, and reversed if enough early signs had been recognized and addressed. This is not just a story of consequence. It's a warning beacon. Here are the lessons, clear, sharp, unavoidable. First, self-defense collapses when sequence contradicts survival. Second, domestic violence often hides behind credibility. Third, science outlives stories. Fourth, silence protects perpetrators, not victims. Fifth, pressure changes outcomes. Amanda Williams did not lose her life because of one bullet. She lost it because control was mistaken for fear, and fear was mistaken for justification. If this story stayed with you, subscribe, because the next case won't announce itself either. And remembering Amanda isn't about the past. It's about catching the lie before the next trigger is pulled. Because trauma, like fire, spreads silently until it explodes. And the only way to stop the explosion is to see the smoke early.
In the darkness, whispers become screams, secrets become weapons, and the truth becomes deadly. This is True Crime Mysteries, The Shadow Lens. Every week, we uncover the stories they don't want you to know, disappearances, cold cases, and the mysteries hiding in plain sight. Subscribe now, and step into the shadows with us.